Good evening, beautiful St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Welcome to another in our series of Perspective. I'm one of your hosts, Neeka Anderson-Issacs, and with me is...
I'm Cleo Huggins. Good evening.
This evening we're going to look at the history of PR and communication in the CWSA, and we have with us the PR and marketing manager, the lovely Miss Joan Ryan, who will be speaking to us about her role in the CWSA, but much more she'll be sharing a part of who Joan is with us. I mean, a lot of persons know her. She's on the road and everybody pretty much hails Joan. So she's going to share a little bit more of herself for her many fans that are watching at this moment with us. Good evening, Joan.
Good evening, and good evening to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Well, I really come from a background of community work. I started at the Department of Women's Affairs many years ago, and that sort of set the pace for engagement with community groups, engagement with women, youth, men, the whole works. And I left there and I came up to CWSA basically to launch the community aspect of the solid waste management program. And of course, you know, you're in an institution like the CWSA, it's forward thinking. You get opportunities to move up, and we took public education and awareness, not just we took it from solid waste and we extended it to water to some extent, but you know, and then eventually our current manager decided that, you know what, we need this thing to be more prominent in CWSA, so we established the public relations and marketing department. It's good work.
So you pretty much get to do your passion while working. So
exactly, serving people. I was saying earlier, I love to be a part of changing attitudes and contributing positively to society in this particular way.
But how do you find that your job allows you to do that?
We interact. I mean, public relations and education and awareness is about interacting with public. It's about giving them information so that they can make informed decisions. And at the CWSA, that's what we aim to do. We communicate with our customers in such a way that they know what their roles and responsibilities are, and they know how they can help us, and how we have to also ensure that we let them know what we are doing to help them.
And how effective would you say this is?
Very. I mean, tooting horn and all of that, I don't think we want to do that really.
That's
but
that's okay.
I think over the years it is safe to say that the CWSA have established excellent relationship with the general public, to such an extent that people call us when they have concerns, not just us giving information to them, but they call us with their concerns, and really that is what we aimed to do.
Joan and Neeka, I expected this to be a very interesting program, and I could see that you and Joan have just jumped right into and gone away with the program. But do remember, we also have the general manager of the CWSA, Garth Saunders. We've had him on previous programs, and he's back again. Garth, you seem to be a jack of all trades. Tell us about your experience in PR and marketing.
Thank you, and good evening to listeners and the audience. I have had a very limited experience in public relations and marketing, and it comes from the fact that I am a technocrat. I'm a technical person, scientific person, and we scientists, we technocrats are reluctant PR persons, as you know. Engineers are not, you know, are not good speakers. But when I say good speakers, they are not, you know, given to speaking a lot, communicating a lot. We feel that our job is to do the designs, do the construction, control things behind the scenes.
But this is contrary to what Joan just said, because Joan said the general manager, which I presume is Garth Saunders, saw a need.
So hence the fact that I'm a reluctant person in that.
You are?
I decided that this is not good enough for a general manager to do, because if you look at the history of public relations and marketing in CWSA, our relationship with the consumer, with the public, developed over the years, where it started out as the general manager basically issuing notices, issuing instructions to a newspaper or a radio station through maybe the HR department, or in the early 1990s, there was a consumer relations officer who controlled things. So you had, for the CWSA then, the general manager was Daniel Cummins at that point. He was also an engineer who did management, etc. But we always were in a position where public relations and marketing was secondary.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that what we have seen over the years is that we've seen public relations and marketing develop along with the pace of technology, the available technology, because I think the technology has a lot to do with where we are today. But the fact that I moved to establish a public relations and marketing department has to do with the reluctance of the general manager and the engineers to communicate very often.
I don't think that's reluctance, though.
It's a reluctance. It's not that we don't want to do it, but we feel that we need to be coaxed into it. And Joan has done a wonderful job in doing that, in bringing me out. I'm here today because of Joan.
Thank you, Joan.
And I have had a previous experience with a business firm that, where persons there convinced me of marketing, the importance of marketing, image building, and so on. So, I felt that the time was right for CWSA to get to the point where we have a department that, keeps a pace with what is happening.
But public relations and marketing is usually something that you would consider for a company that is looking at being competitive and making sure that they are always in touch with their market. CWSA is a state-owned company and it is also a monopoly. Why do you see a need for marketing?
Especially
marketing. I understand public relations, but why marketing?
But people need to know that what we have to offer. We can't just sit back and say we are a monopoly, so we don't need to be out there in people's faces. It's not that we have a competition with bottled water or anything like that, but we are talking about quality. We are talking about affordability. And we have to be able to communicate that to our customers, to our consumers. You have to also remember that our consumers are not just our domestic consumers. We have commercial consumers. We focus on ships as well when they come into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have Grenadines customers, other local ships and so on. So we have to be able to be out there in the public space, marketing our product in the sense that people realize that we have quality. What we're offering is quality.
That's an excellent approach.
And it's the, and it's the image.
But what fuels that though? Because given the fact that there's no competition, it's easy to just be laid back and be like, okay, well, we don't have any competition. So, but what fuels that drive to want to? I see, Garth, that you have placed the emphasis on your support being from a woman, and that's good because every strong man is a strong woman, a strong black woman pushing him behind, and it's good that you could credit that. So it's also good to go back to the point we had made earlier for you to toot your horn a little bit because you're doing a good job, and so it's important to your general manager can come on public TV and say you're doing a good job, and you have made him part of what he is today in terms of that aspect of his job, and that's important. But what fuels that though?
Every business, you don't have to be in a competitive environment. Every business needs to market what they do, because at some point you have to answer to your stakeholders, and marketing has to do with image building. We have to build the image of the institution, and we have done that so that our staff can have a high morale, our customers can feel good, can feel that we are being honest and straightforward with them, that they can trust us. When we say things are bad, things are bad. When we say things are good, things are good. So marketing is about creating transparency, honesty, and trust, so that even investors can look at us and see, this is a firm I'd like to do business with. I'd like to,
So there are persons that express interest in doing business with the CWSA?
All the time.
Of course.
Example?
We have financial institutions coming to us. There are persons who want to engage us in private sector initiatives where we can partner with them. Yes,
Solid waste. Do we have environmental companies?
Our suppliers in extending credit. Once you have a good image and a good track record.
That sounds like something we should really come back to. But Joan alluded earlier to the fact that you have various stakeholders, and all of these stakeholders have access to different resources, they have different requirements, and they ingest information in different ways. What sorts of media do you use to communicate with all of these people?
Everything. You name it, as long as the public wants it in that way, that's what we do.
Twitter?
Not just yet. It is something that we are now considering because we have to move forward. The younger generation are tweeting, they're doing all sorts of things. But initially when we started out, we were on the ground, footing it, house to house. And we still do that. But that was predominantly what we did to reach people. And there is really no alternative to that. That's really a good thing to do. People love that one-on-one. And that's what we did initially, to establish relations.
So try not to lose that.
It was really fortunate that the Solid Waste Management Unit came to the CWSA with that project. Because Joan came to us and with that approach, that public relation, that public one-on-one.
And then we expanded that now to more radio. Remember, we did announcements in the past for water mainly. And so we extended it to other programs, talk programs, 5-minute programs. I remember we had a program on on Hits FM some years ago, NBC Radio from time to time, and the newspapers and so on. So over the years, what we have been doing is basically an evolution. We have been evolving, meeting the needs of every one of our publics, not just hardcore radio people or newspaper persons, but also the young people now who are into cell phones and that sort of thing. We are online with our Facebook page. We are doing things and we are going places, and as long as it means that we can reach our customers more effectively and they can communicate with us, then we are going to get into it.
That is excellent. We're happy that you're not only using these medium, but I don't think I would encourage you not to lose that one-on-one touch, because that is very vital. Thank you, and I hope you continue to stay with us as we delve into more aspects of public relations and marketing and communication with the CWSA. We'll be right back.
With 2/3 of the Earth's surface covered by water, and the human body consisting of 75%, it is clear that water is one of the prime elements responsible for life on Earth. Why waste it? Start conserving water today.
A message from the Central Water and Sewage Authority.
When you irresponsibly discard your waste, that's not all you do. You take part in destroying the environment. We want to enjoy a clean, fresh and green St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Don't you? Litter not only makes our environment unsightly, time and money is wasted collecting it. Avoid littering. A message from the Solid Waste Management Unit.
Welcome back. This is Perspectives, and this evening we're talking with Garth Saunders and Joan Ryan of the CWSA. Garth is the General Manager and Joan is the Public Relations and Marketing Manager. And just before we left, we were about to get into a really interesting discussion. We had been speaking, Joan and Garth, about the building up of the reputation of the CWSA, so the work that you've done with image building and communicating with the public, and that you've actually enhanced your credibility to the point where people are approaching you to do business with you.
There have been several initiatives over the years where persons have come to us with partnership projects.
Examples of these are?
We have projects in solid waste especially, where there have been several initiatives, several excursions or inquiries into waste to energy initiatives, regionally and internationally. There have been persons who have partnered with us in recycling initiatives at our landfill. We have compacted and exported quite a bit of scrap metal. We've also had initiatives.
You gain money from this?
Of course we do.
Okay.
Yes. And that's that's part of our cost recovery, which is alive and kicking really.
So Joan, your department is paying for itself.
And very important, yes.
It's growing. So it's a question of the image helping us with our reputation and our reputation being used to the benefit of the institution. And the CWSA can only grow from strength to strength with that kind of relationship.
And I think earlier in this series we did a program with Dwight Hillocks.
Right.
Where we are partnering with Air Inc., All Island Recycling, which is a company that is into the collection and exportation of plastics and metals, I believe, later on. So it's a question of us being ready to partner.
So there's a potential for even more growth. And that is why I guess we see the importance more of public relations and marketing, because at least now that, some persons at home may be thinking CWSA just water or maybe solid waste, but now
Not
that...
at all. A lot of our work, a lot of what we do, like Garth said, we do in partnership with others. We do other kinds of partnership as well. We collaborate with ministries, with private.
So it's locally, regionally,
entities.
and internationally.
Right. We are part of the regional water and solid waste bodies, and of course the international water body as well. So from time to time, at least once per year, we have these meetings, and we are asked to present papers on initiatives that we have taken, whether in public relations, water, the technical aspect of things, or in solid waste, the technical aspects of
so Joan and Garth, really,
so
there's a lot of horn-tooting to be done.
Yes.
Because you are considered a leader in regional water.
We are.
Congratulations.
We don't just drive around vehicles and dig up the roads, right?
Congratulations.
So we are right up there, and
it's
it's a good thing too. Because
hold on, say that again. You know what? For me, I have to underscore this point, because I realize that sometimes we don't highlight the things that are important, the things that are being done well in our country, and sometimes we tend to pinpoint the things that are negative. So I just want to underscore that point. Say it again for me, please.
We are recognized regionally for the work that we do, and I very early in the game, back in 2001, I believe, we are the ones who 2001, 2002, who spearheaded a regional train of trainers program on composting here in St. Vincent. We started composting at our landfill at Diamond, and we were basically asked to do a pilot project, and well, we're big into composting now, but as a result of that, our partners from the region came over. We were all trained, and everybody else is now doing composting at the site. So we always have been a leader, not just in solid waste, but in water, and in terms of quality and affordability.
Okay. Let's come back to your public relations campaign. How effective would you say your campaign has been since your department has been established?
Wow, that's a big question. How are we going to judge measure effectiveness? If it's about how people feel comfortable calling us at the CWSA and telling us what they feel, and they do tell us what they feel sometimes. It's not about filtering or anything like that, and we have to be able to take the good out of everything.
Correct.
But also, if we listen to the talk radio programs, yes, there are some dissenting voices, and that's good, that's okay too. But by and large, I would think that the general public say good things about the CWSA.
But it's not just the good things though, because I think we have established a relationship and a structure where we can receive complaints.
Yes.
We can receive bad feedback, negative feedback, and we can deal with
well, that's important, because any effective marketing strategy would involve that element of communication, where your customers can be frank with you, and they expect you to be frank with them.
It's not just the departments. When we do awareness programs internally, because my department is also responsible for internal relations. So when we are having our staff meetings, for example, our staff is made to understand that all of us, they are the first face of the CWSA, whether it's the meter reader, the guy who is out there doing metering, the person who is fixing the road, the guys down at the sewer plant, whoever you are, you have to, we try to get them to know that quality starts with us. We are not waiting for somebody to call us and demand quality. We start giving quality up front. They know that what they say and how they say, how they communicate to the public is really important. We don't want people to be calling us and saying so-and-so was rude or anything like that. We
so
want
you
to
have
know
a well-established link between your marketing and PR department and your customer service department, who are actually the people who roll out your strategy to
it's important to note that the customer service department, the public relations and marketing department started within the customer service department.
Nice.
So it was a natural evolution. It grew so big that it had to have a life of its own.
But how is it that you were able to get it done so well? Do you provide training for the staff? How is it that you're able to?
There are different types of training here in the CWSA.
Yes,
we are big on training. We do training up to the master's degree level training for our staff. We do training for
1 and 2 day
workshops, you know, supervisory type kind of stuff, you know, that kind of training. And we also, when we have our staff meetings, it's also a training ground for us to get staff on the same page with management so that they know exactly what's happening within the CWSA and how they can carry the message out as well.
We asked about you evaluating your campaign, and you have given us some feedback on that. In terms of how your customer service has changed based on your interaction with your customers, based on your marketing program, how would you say that that has improved over the years?
Oh my God.
Yeah, it has, you know, I think that we've
Tremendously.
done well in that aspect.
So.
You see, because what we've tried to do,
You're always trying to be so humble.
because I always feel that we can do more, and I always tell my staff that. But we always start by remembering that customer service is not just what is happening in the CWSA, in the building.
No.
So when somebody comes in, you have a customer service officer, a customer service person. That's not where customer service lies only within CWSA.
Right.
Customer service is about responding to complaints right away. Customer service is about, you know, informing customers before you turn the water off.
That's
Customer service is about getting the water back quickly when it's off. Informing the customers about what we're doing, the projects. You know,
It's
so
about
customer
listening.
service is about keeping the customer at the front.
Yeah.
So it's not just what you get when you come into the building. So our staff know that. They know that when they go out, they have an image,
Yeah.
you know, to upkeep.
And
that's
I
what
think
we, you know.
I think something that maybe other companies take for granted, but that logo that we carry, we have, our guys have a blue shirt that when they go out in the field, that is established in CWSA. It's part of our building our image, really. And that gives people the permission to speak to us. They see that shirt, they see that logo, they know that they can talk to this guy. He's from CWSA. They expect positiveness from us.
That was a wonderful development of the CWSA. I think back in 1994 or 95, that was...
So identification is key.
Yeah, and that's part of building the image.
Yeah.
You know, the staff morale. And you know, so I think that helps a lot.
It does.
Yeah.
And I must agree, over the years, whenever you see that blue shirt, you know
That's
the
right.
water people are around. And
Yeah.
and they have been very approachable. Actually, this afternoon when I was coming in, I called out to the security officer. You know, I was very formal. I said, "Security, good afternoon." He said, "Yes, you're Mrs. Huggins. I'm expecting you." So your customer service program has gone right across the organization, and it is, from what I have experienced, perfect. We'll be back.
Perfect, but,
It's getting there.
From
what she's
at this
experienced.
level, it's perfect.
Yeah.
There's still time to come, and we'll deal with perfection when that time comes.
when that time comes.
This is Perspectives. We'll be back after this.
During the dry season, we at the Central Water and Sewage Authority urge you to conserve water. Remember, there are many ways to save water, and they all start with you. Clean vegetables in a stopped sink or in a pot, rather than letting the faucet run. This water can be reused to water plants. Wash only full loads in your washing machines. When washing your vehicle, use a bucket. Showering for a maximum of 4 minutes saves 1,000 gallons of water a month. Save water, save money.
A message from the Central Water and Sewage Authority.
Are you guilty of throwing your garbage over banks, along roadsides, in rivers, drains, and on vacant lots? If you are responsible for the pollution of our rivers, the defacing of our roadsides, and the proliferation of mosquitoes, rats, and other pests in our country. Protect our environment, save our country, save our lives.
A message from the Central Water and Sewerage Authority, Solid Waste Management Unit.
Welcome back to Perspectives. Neeka, we're having a really interesting program this evening. It's really good. We are here with Garth Saunders, General Manager of the CWSA, and Joan Ryan, the PR and Marketing Manager of the CWSA. And before we went to break, Garth, we were talking about some of the customer service improvements since the establishment of the department, and we spoke about the identification of the officers, the fact that it is so easy to communicate with the CWSA and communicate in terms of you talk to us and we can talk to you, and what initiatives have come out of this entire communication program. And there are other things that we were talking about in the break that I think are important to be raised in this program.
It's important that we highlight the fact that at CWSA we like to deal with our customers one-on-one, even on the telephone. So we are one of the institutions in St. Vincent, I was going to say one of the few, but maybe there are some others, who when you call the institution, you don't get an automated message. You speak to someone, and you're able to leave a message, you're able to be transferred to a person who can speak to you. And we pride ourselves in that. I think we've resisted the temptation for going automated, and it is working to our benefit, because a lot of customers like to know that they can speak to someone. Because it's no point calling a business, and if you know the extension, you can dial it. Because if you knew the extension, I think you would just go straight. A lot of the times you call an institution and you really don't know the extension, and you have to do,
But it's good that you're being able to strike the balance between using technology to your advantage and still using the human resource aspect of it. And I see that you guys have put a lot into staff morale and building the staff, and that has helped a lot with the image, because a lot of times companies want to do so well and they do all these things, but the morale of the staff is low, so therefore the output of the persons who are representing that company is very low. And I think I know that the CWSA has even gone to the extent where health has become a very important aspect in terms of the lives of they have an exercise program going on.
Well, it's not just about the external customers. We have to be happy internally in order to deliver quality product to our customers. So yes, we do get into health and well-being of our staff, in terms of even medical programs and so on. And those things perhaps we take for granted, but we like to focus more on how we have been able to make our customers more comfortable with us. And I think one of the things that you would see immediately you get into the main office building at the CWSA, one of the things you would see is that there is an area where you can go to chat privately about your concerns. So I hate going into an institution and everybody is hearing your business. It's just not. It was not, and
it was not always like that. And I think the CWS has evolved, as you know, over the years. And I think that we've come to a point where we are keeping a pace with customer demands, with consumer demands, in the technical side.
And building your brand as well.
Yes, solid waste improvements. We have island-wide coverage of garbage collection. We have garbage collected before midday every day. Once a week on mainland, twice a week in the Grenadines. We have improved our water supply situation, where we have increased our storage capacity by 80% since 2004. We've also been able to reduce the incidence of muddy water, turbid water.
I can testify.
Yes. And we've done that by increasing storage and technical improvements in our system. We've also added technology where we can remotely control a lot of our water systems, our major water systems. We can, monitor their operations, and we can remotely control the shut and open valves, etc. We've started a SCADA and a GIS department. We have a water resources department now, where we can actually measure rainfall, climate,
and this is communicated to the general public how? Through your radio programs, your Facebook page, your website?
And we report on it in our annual reports. It's on our website, and we make our information available to the Met Office at E.T. Joshua Airport, and we also send information to the Caribbean Institute of Meteorology and Hydrology in Barbados.
So far, we've been talking about the more pleasant stuff, the more pleasant duties of the PR department.
No matter what.
Really?
Not really.
So
not
what
really.
happens when there's a disaster? How does the department function?
That's just a challenge. That's just a
That's
challenge.
just another day in
It's
CWSA.
just another day.
Oh, so that's fun.
Wow.
Oh, let's go there in a disaster. Let's leave our family
With
and
your
go.
expertise, please tell the rest of St. Vincent and the Grenadines how you consider
I'm telling you, Cleo,
I
put my water boots
I just
on,
love it.
I
I
put
just
my water
love
boots
it.
on, and I am out there with the guys as much as I possibly
But we
can.
prepared, Joan was prepared for
Yeah.
crisis communication as well, because I think she received some training in that aspect
Yeah.
as well. It was part of her training, and
And I suppose
an
for a
important
utility
aspect.
company, it's a
It's
very
necessary.
important
Yeah.
part
And
of
it's
your program.
necessary too because of the situation of climate change that we are facing worldwide.
True.
And the fluctuation in weather patterns that we have been having in St. Vincent and the Grenadines over in recent years. So now we are accustomed at the CWSA to periods of heavy rain, where there are storms, where there are landslides, where our pipelines are broken, where hundreds of people are
And
out of
that's
water.
pleasant.
You
And that's
know,
pleasant work.
I always say yes.
it's challenging work.
Yeah.
It's work that we love. I mean, hello. If when something like this happens and our guys are on vacation, they don't have to be told to come into the office. They just
But you
come
see,
into
it
the
means
office.
that the CWSA has to be doing something right because nobody ain't really want to leave the vacation to come
Something
back
right,
to
but not
work.
always right. No, but the thing is, it's a question of us just understanding that that's part of the job.
Yes.
And the one guarantee I give our consumers every year, our customers, is that some part of the year, the system in your area is going to be down because
That's
of
right.
landslides, because of floods, because of heavy rains. So you keep an emergency supply of water with you. Any
Is
utility,
that message consistently
All the
put
time.
out there?
I hope so.
That's something we
But
push it all the time.
any utility, we have to understand that any service utility, at some point, you're going to be down. The CWSA is especially vulnerable because of the terrain
Right.
that we have to traverse with our pipelines and so on. And, you know, we are susceptible.
Yeah.
And with the climate change we're experiencing now, we have vulnerable areas. But we have also, last year, made some special efforts to reduce our vulnerability in those areas. So, you know, we hope to reduce the number of crises we have every year, but still, management of the crisis and communicating.
So
Right.
what are some of the key points that you would want your customers to bear in mind as a part of your crisis management program?
I think the first thing they need to feel reassured about is that the CWSA has a plan. We have a plan. Internally, it's activated year-round. It's not something that happens during the time of disaster.
We meet
okay.
we meet on a monthly basis. Our
basis.
emergency management committee meets on a monthly basis
That's
to
right.
assess our readiness.
Right.
See, you know, things we may have changed from month to month. You may be using pieces of equipment that were designated for emergency. You may have taken them out to use them somewhere else, but we want to ensure that they're always up and running, ready to go.
Wow, that's good.
One of the improvements we've had over the years is the acquisition of a water tender.
That's
truck,
right.
Where we can actually go into communities that are out of water and deliver water, truck-borne water.
And this is not
And
just
it
when we
makes-
have a
makes
hurricane or a dry season per se. If there is a broken line for whatever reason, maybe a truck pass on a major line and it's broken and they're out of water for more than 4 hours, the CWSA is in there ensuring that that community receives water. So we internally, we are prepared. We know when there is a disaster, the solid waste management unit, the staff, they know what to do. From the landfill section, from the collection of garbage area. They know what is the point of gathering, they know when to gather. And
But Joan does something very, very good as well. So she's hiding it, she's keeping it back. She ensures that the public knows what we are going through.
yes.
So let's get a camera. Let's get a camera in the field. Let's go. Let's show them what has happened. And that's important.
Yeah.
So you get the empathy of the public.
Exactly.
You
We
know?
understand
Yes.
what you are doing
Yes.
to restore
Because
the
it's a lot of
services.
a lot of difficult work, and God rightly said the terrain is not easy, and to see where our guys have to go to restore water to our consumers. You lift a 12-inch main pipe. You have to have 12 men doing that. It weighs over 1,000 pounds. I mean, come on, up hilly slopes, getting that kind of work done in wet, slippery condition is
In disastrous conditions.
Yeah.
I'm telling
So
you,
we have to
it goes
say
beyond the call of duty.
That
and
your crisis communication program, apart from reassuring us that you have the matter under control, and apart from sharing with us what you are experiencing, it also extends to your staff, because your staff has to be ready at all times. You can't afford to have any complacency with your officers.
Not at all.
But certainly this crisis communication and generally your PR program must be fraught with challenges, and I think that's something that we'd want to deal with in the next section. So we'll take a break here and we'll come back with perspectives.
The business of waste management has never been a prestigious job.
People in this field must have a deep appreciation of their country. They're not only improving the beauty, but
they're helping to preserve life. You can help.
Remember to always practice the 4 R's: recover, reuse, reduce, and recycle waste.
A message from the Central Water and Sewerage Authority, Solid Waste Management Unit.
Hey, Mr. B, I can't believe you put out the old drum, the pieces of galvanized, the pieces of wood by the side of the road. What do you mean the truck will pick them up? Did you call them and make the arrangement? No. The truck is not going to pick them up just so. You have to call and make the arrangement and pay a small fee. You have more? Listen, in future, call the people at Solid Waste, tell them what you have, they will tell you how much you have to pay. Okay? Yeah. Okay.
A message from the Central Water and Sewerage Authority, Solid Waste Management Unit.
Welcome back to Perspective, and we have with us, Cleo, two other members of our marketing team with us.
Well, we've been having a healthy discussion so far, but Joan has insisted that the PR department goes way beyond her. The pillars of the department are actually these two ladies who are with us now.
So she kicked out the general manager and brought on board two members here, and we have with us
Symantha George and Rae-Anne McDowall. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, Rae-Anne.
About myself or the work that I do?
About yourself before the work that you do.
My name is Rae-Anne McDowall. I am a 25-year-old aspiring graphic artist who also loves cars and baking. Cakes and cars.
And what kind of movies you like to watch?
Horrors.
But Richard, her face literally lights up. And horrors. Who gets so excited about horrors? And Symantha, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Symantha George. Basically have a background in management, and I really enjoy working in the public relations and marketing department.
So you're a workaholic, because
yes,
I ask you about yourself and immediately going to work.
That's how I've always been. I come from a background of hard workers.
And to work under Joan Ryan, who, when I ask her about herself, she goes into telling me about work as well. So I see you would fit in perfectly in this department.
I could never say I'm a 25-year-old looking somebody.
I
would not. Oh, so long, you know, so long.
I've been there too.
We've all been there, okay? We've all been there.
Neeka, I want to throw these two in at the deep end. We were talking about crisis communication before we went to the break. And Joan and Garth had started to outline to us some of the things that are involved in your crisis communication program. But I want one or both of you to explain to me. Well, first of all, were you both here in 2013?
Yes, we were.
Yes, oh, wonderful. Tell us about your communication strategy for that flood in 2013.
Normally, what we do is we try to liaise with our engineering department and our supervisors. Our base is at Montrose here, and everybody basically reports to base or calls in at base to give varying information. So that's where we get our info from, because the engineers, the supervisors call in and leave the information there. There are times where we would have to call them just to get more accurate information about what areas are out of service, what the degree of damage in certain areas, so that we can formulate our press releases or notices to go to the public so that they know what is going on and how CWSA has started the recovery process.
So how did you put all of that into action for the December floods into 2013?
BASE was the place that we got the information. We made some calls, we formulated the press releases, we liaised with the general manager, who becomes the head of our disaster planning committee at the time, and we sent out the information to the radio stations, to the...
How? Via telephone? Or?
Via telephone and through our fax machines, and we used the internet as well.
Oh, that was up?
Yes, emails. That was up.
And how was the public communicating with you?
Via Facebook
and telephone, because we had to have a continuously updating list of the areas that were out of water. So we would always go back to Facebook or the phone lines to keep updating our list. And of course, we let the guys in customer care know. These areas are out of water, you probably need to go to them with the water tender. So
add them to the...
So the public was assisting you in the process. The public was your
Yes.
friend in terms of the information.
That's correct.
Yes. But I think I think we need to go back to the severity of the damage so that you get an idea as to exactly where we had to come in. And at times like this, as Symantha alluded, it's not just us three, it's also Garth as well. He is in the thick of things. So there we were, enjoying ourselves, ham and all, and we had to just... I was actually on vacation, and we came back in, and immediately we start contacting who we can. BASE had information, but we also had to go and find out who is it that is up, whose telephone is working, who can we contact to get information from different areas, leeward, windward, the interior of the island. So as the information start coming in now, this is where we start formulating our notices and so on. The thing about communicating in this way is that we always have to have the GM in the loop. So there is that circle there. Whatever he knows, we know. Whatever we know, he knows. There are times when the media would be able to get him and they would not be able to get us. And there were times when they would get us and not him. So all of us have to always be on the same page. Once there is a crisis, the general manager and myself would be the two main persons. We would also designate perhaps an engineer, depending on what the problem is, where the problem is, and the engineer that is in charge. I think the other thing that perhaps we need to say is that when we have crisis, an engineer is always in charge of a particular project in a particular area, as long as it's water, of course.
But what if you're not able to get into work because you live quite far
in the country,
and then there was a lot of challenges on the road. It was in fact a disaster. So getting here meant that you place yourself in harm's way to get the work done. What was that process like, and how did you manage? How long were you here for? Did you walk with food, or your first instinct was to just come and get the work done?
It was a nightmare. The first day I couldn't come out at all. Symantha came and Rae-Anne came, but I couldn't leave. Too many landslides in my area. Mount Grenon block off, Diamond block off. I couldn't leave the community until the very next day.
So you worked from home?
I worked from home. I had to be in touch with them, find out what's going on, touch with Garth, find out what's going on. It was that difficult for the first few hours. Later on, they start communicating with me, so I know exactly what is happening.
What are the first things, Joan, that you'd want to bring to the public's attention when we have a situation like this? We have a disaster. Several areas are affected. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know yet the full extent of the damage. What is it that you want to bring to the public's attention so that they don't put themselves in any harm's way and that they do not put the CWSA under any further stress?
Our guys know up front that they would go in the field to find out the severity of the problem. Once that information is communicated to us and they understand, they know that that's the first thing they do, to communicate that information to the PR department. We take that information and we give it to the public. That's like our first response. So they understand that it is dire. Do not expect to receive service within a particular period of time. And our technical guys know how to do this kind of assessment. So when they feed us with that information, even if they say, for example, you're not going to get water for 7 days, for 10 days, we know that our guys are still going to try and pull that down to 4 days.
So in a situation like this where we had no prior notice, Because if we knew that a hurricane was coming, then we could say, okay, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a hurricane is coming, make sure you have your supplies of water and whatever. In a case like this where there was no warning, how do you help people to help themselves? Because we don't have any water stored. What do you tell us to help us to at least continue living until the water comes back to our taps?
We try to let you know that the CWSA is on its way. We will always be on our way to you. Do not worry, do not panic. There has to be water somewhere, and as long as that water is there, we are going to get that water to the public using our water tender. The water tender is always mobilized. So once that is done, we say to you, look, this area is out, this source is out, that source is out, that source is out. But we are going to be able to source water from a particular area, and we are coming to you. Do not worry. We are coming to you. Have your containers ready. The CWSA will get there.
In short, hold on, help is on the way.
Yes.
What are some of the responsibilities of the PR department in a crisis?
In a crisis, it's more or less to collect and disseminate information. And just a short plug back to Cleo was asking about emergencies. This is why we continuously say to persons to always have storage. Because as you said, there wasn't any warning for the flood in 2013, and we always try to drive it at persons. Ensure you have storage for at least a couple of days for every member of your family. Because we won't always get a warning, and you don't want to be in a situation where you have no water at all stored. Help is on the way, yes, but how much of a better position you'll be in if you helped yourself first.
We learned that disaster management is a critical role in the process of the CWSA and how they disseminate their information. Don't go away, we'll be back with more in Perspectives.
With 11 water supply systems and an improved total storage capacity to 5.24 million gallons, the CWSA continues in its efforts to increase and improve water supply and water quality to consumers in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The CWSA looking ahead. For added value to the product offered, the Central Water and Sewerage Authority instituted 3 new projects. The Water Resource Management Unit is responsible for the monitoring of climate data, which includes rainfall evaporation, solar radiation, temperature, pressure, river flows, and mapping. Our Geographical Information System GIS is currently used for pipeline mapping and the monitoring for turbidity and water levels in our tanks. Lastly, the purchase of our water tender has greatly improved accessibility of water to consumers during times of outages. The CWSA, improving to serve you better.
Welcome back to Perspective, and we have with us, for those who weren't with us earlier, we have Symantha George and Rae-Anne McDowell, who are part of the marketing team here, along with PR and marketing manager Joan Ryan. And so these ladies are going to share with us a little bit more about the work that they do to make this marketing team so successful. Cleo?
Well, we've already given them the baptism of fire, so now we'll go to the easy stuff. Why don't you tell us what happens in your department on a regular basis?
Well, our work program, at the end of the year, we start off with a meeting to discuss what we are going to do for the upcoming year. So we do a work plan and budget that details in segment each quarter of the year, and for each quarter there's a major activity along with some not so major activities that we do. First off, what begins the year is the start of the production of our annual report, which Rae-Anne spearheads. Well, Joan spearheads, but Rae-Anne is the graphic person that puts everything together. I normally do the editing, so departments are bringing their reports, we do the editing, we put them in Rae-Anne formats. You guys have
special skills?
Yes, we do. We do. Rae-Anne formats, and along with the GM and Miss Ryan, so that takes care of the annual report aspect. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Is the annual report one of your major projects for a quarter?
It is. Yes, it is.
I like that you guys are so humble. Yes. We're so humble here. This is really good.
But look, I just want to say something here. the humility that you see doesn't take away from the quality of the work that they do. Right?
Well, I realize
this is just who they are.
I'm looking here at a copy of this document that has been produced in-house, and it's fabulous. Some magnificent work. Congratulations, ladies.
Thank you. Yeah, look at this, guys. This is like really good. This is really good. Yeah. Continue, Cleo.
So, in your first quarter, you start working on your annual report, then you have some other projects during each quarter.
Yes. Well, that just sums up one aspect of our first quarter, because we have Water Week, which is a celebration that CWSA does to highlight the roles and functions within the authority. It's normally, we try to have it to culminate with World Water Day, which is the 22nd of March of every year. And a lot of planning goes into that, and the execution is tiring sometimes, but it's rewarding in the end, because we have schools programs, community visits, schools career fair that we hold here annually. And I think that the schools career fair is the highlight, because it's appreciated by the secondary schools that we invite, because we target the Form 3s of each school.
Why Form 3?
That's the class that they choose what subject areas they want and what they want to become.
Right.
So they come in, they see what areas of employment are available within the CWSA, what qualifications they would need to have if they want a job within the CWSA. And I think it's a mind changer, in a sense, because we've had students that were aspiring to be a truck driver. And coming in and seeing the operations, they realize that they cannot, so much more. They cannot come to work at CWSA with 2 O-levels. It's 5 O-levels, minimum of 5 O-levels, and you have to be trained in some computer basics. They didn't know that. So now it's a renewed focus.
Even something as basic as defensive driving, because of the terrain that you operate in.
Yes,
that's true.
And as the GM highlighted earlier in the program, CWS is more than us digging up the roads and driving around in trucks. We have a plethora of different careers available, because within the PR department alone, who would think that there's a graphic artist, there's a motivational speaker? These things you would not believe.
Who's a motivational speaker?
We all are.
We all are.
Oh, that's so awesome. I like that.
And please note, they're all ladies.
Beautiful ladies.
So yes, it's very diverse within the CWSA. We have a lot of different careers available.
Yes.
So you have a very intense public program. What happens in terms of your internal communications? How do you function in terms of your communication role within the CWSA?
Well, whatever happens internally, we send out a memo, stick them on the various notice boards, send them out to the varying departments.
Telephone, intercom. We have a system of all the phones. We can broadcast throughout the company via the phones. So at 8:30 and 2:30, sometimes each day, we would begin by saying these are your public relations announcements for today, and then we list out the
every day,
almost every day.
Once this, and persons read the notices and stuff.
Yes, they do.
What do you have to tell your staff every day, twice a day?
You'd be surprised. Sometimes when we have our programs coming up,
we try to keep staff abreast of what's going on, what's happening for the week, the upcoming week, what's happening the next day, what they should do, what they shouldn't do.
I think the thing is that we don't want to have a company where persons have to listen on the radio to know what's happening within the CWSA. They shouldn't have to do that. This is where they work, and they should have that information before it goes out to the public. So when we do all of that, we ensure on a daily basis that they can have that information, and that's strategic, of course, when we are doing specific projects. But also we have our staff meetings, which is an important part of our internal relation tool.
Yes.
You know, in terms of getting information to staff.
I guess that's why the staff is so supportive of the different activities, because I'm like, CWSA staff seem to support a lot of their activities. There's usually a lot of the staff members there.
We do this team, we do uniforms. We do media, we do schools, we do communities, we do everything, right? We, from time to time, we try to pull other staff members from different sections into our program, give them the exposure of working with us, alongside us.
I'm going to be a little daredevil. Usually, sometimes working with a team that consists of mostly women can be very catty and weird. The dynamics of women working together sometimes can be real challenging, and a lot of persons watching could be like, yeah, boy, yeah, we could attest to that. But when you find a good team of women working together, it's usually, when it's good, it's really good, and when it's bad, I don't have to go into that more. Of course, Garth would want to insert himself into the team. It's doing so well. But what works with the gel in this team, why you guys have such a good relationship? And I've been around you for quite some time, so if you were acting, you'd be like really good to keep up that act so long. You guys seem to really have a good dynamic. What yields that?
I think it's basically understanding each other and each other's space. I think that's usually why females can't get along. Probably they don't give each other working parameters, but we know each other's time. All people have a say and everybody has a moon. Right? So it's something like that. We understand each other, and that helps us to more or less work flawlessly.
Okay, that can't be it alone, but from your perspective, Symantha?
I think we have varying personalities. It comes out, but when it comes to the work, we know exactly what we have to do, and we get it done. So
Yes.
Joan doesn't have to come in every day and say, oh, Symantha, you do this, or Rae-Anne, you do this. We already know exactly because she assigns tasks. And we execute those tasks in a timely manner,
to the best of your ability.
To the best of our ability, and get it done, because we understand our role and we understand the broad picture of our mission statement, which is to provide our customers with quality, affordability, and efficiency in the services that we offer. So
Joan has a strong personality, but she's not overly bossy. She seems to be like really cold, down to earth.
What do you mean overly bossy?
Man,
I am not bossy at all. At all.
I'm just saying that you're not overly bossy, or you're kind of down to earth and stuff, and that's really awesome. Kudos for you as a woman, because sometimes as women, we feel we have to shout, we have to be aggressive to make ourselves assertive and stuff. So you kind of have a good hand.
It's not necessary.
Say it again.
It's not necessary to get work done. I respect them. I respect the fact that they have special skills, and those skills they bring to bear on the success of the department. They respect my managerial skills, and we work really well that way. They know that they have my support.
Cleo, talk about engaging and interesting discussion. This is so nice. I think we have to do it twice. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think perhaps if we can get the permission of the GM and permission of Joan, we can do this again maybe next week. Yes?
Yeah,
sounds like a plan.
Sorted. Folks, this has been Perspective. We had a really interesting program on the PR and marketing strategies of the Central Water and Sewerage Authority. Thank you for joining us. Come back again next week.